Hey everyone, I wanted to record a fairly short video, but I'm trying to make it thorough as well, especially because I'm not there in person Monday the 28th. But so I'm sort of introducing the whole week here, but also wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Paul Taylor article in particular. So in terms of introducing the week, you're going to notice it's kind of it's a pretty full week. You know, what you're going to be doing just for ethics is reading chapter 4. It's a pretty dense chapter. It's about 22 pages, but it's, I think it takes some time. It took me a while to design the quiz on it. And that's going to cover two versions of biocentrism, one from Albert Schweitzer and one from Paul Taylor. And biocentrism in general is the view that things deserve moral consideration beyond the moral consideration that we give to humans and non-human animals, right? So utilitarianism can cover animals because they can suffer and have life goals, things like that, that they're aware of. And so what we're going to do in this week and the next couple of weeks is talk about moving beyond that, about what's called biocentrism this week and then ecocentrism the next week. But what's going to happen is in the textbook in chapter 4, the author is going to talk about Schweitzer's view, which is sort of a reverence for life view, and then Taylor's view, which he calls biocentric egalitarianism. And then I've got an in-depth article by Paul Taylor for you to read. Now, I want to show you that it's pretty robust in terms of what I'm asking you, because the quiz is on chapter 4, and the quiz itself is 15 questions. And that is kind of a lot. So you don't want to leave this to the last minute. It's 25 points, so it's no joke from a points perspective. But one of the things I try to do is correct for issues that some of you guys have had or frustrations about, like, oh, it marked it wrong, even though I'm pretty sure it's right, that type of thing, because it was looking for an exact match. So what you're going to see is that these questions most of these should be pretty self-grading, and 90% of these are going to be directly straight out of the book. And so all you need to do is read carefully. You should be able to answer these no problem. So a lot of these are going to be matching. So I'm not going to read all these, but I'll just give you one, right? Match the appropriate term with the view of who, what deserves moral standing. So you've got your 4 choices. You pick the letter that matches with them. Then there's multiple choice, things like that. Putting steps of an argument in order. Now, this looks hard, but it is like literally listed in order in the text. So you don't need to like think about what order makes the most sense. You just need to read and then put them in the correct order. So a lot of these are going to be super, just like you got to read carefully. You'll be able to answer the question, no problem. 2 questions on this are just going to ask for your opinion, and it's question 4 and 15. So question 4 is going to ask you, okay, the author criticizes Schweitzer's view. And there's several criticisms. Pick one of them, explain what it is, explain your view of the criticism. Do you think the criticism's fair? Do you think it's unfair? That kind of thing. Okay. So that's an opinion question. You should be able to get it right, no problem, as long as you accurately capture the criticism and then you have something to say about it. So obviously this won't auto grade. I'll have to go in and grade that automatically, or myself later, but it's you kind of can't mess it up if you just sort of take it seriously. I mean, I guess the thing you can mess up is not understanding the criticism, but there's 3 or 4, so pick the one that you feel pretty clear about. There are a couple of other short answers. I made this one, what is biocentric egalitarianism, a short answer, simply so you didn't have to worry about the matching issue, but you can put in the exact description given in the text. But when you do that, just put it in quotes, cite the page number, okay? Whenever you do a quote, if the quote isn't completely obviously self-explanatory, then also followed up with your own brief description in your own words. Okay. Same here. Provide the 4 claims that make up Taylor's biocentric outlook on nature. Given in the textbook, I even give you the page number, so you can literally just list them. Okay, but I wanted to do it as a short answer. Similar. Okay, so this is basically a reading, but it's going to force you to be pretty detailed in going over the chapter. Then you've got the Taylor reading, and I would read them in this order. I'd read the textbook first, then the Taylor. One more thing on the quiz I want to show you. Sorry for making you dizzy. I don't know why I decided to do this, but just to take some anxiety away. I don't think you'll need 3 attempts, but this does allow multiple attempts. So you can take the quiz if you don't get the score you want on it. Now, of course, you won't know the short answer score right away, but you can do multiple attempts if you want. I don't know why you need to, since you can always save it and resume it later. But just, like I said, lessen your anxiety a little bit. Okay, so then you've got the ethics of respect for nature. So you can read Taylor in his own words, and then you've got a new set of questions on that article. So this is another 20 points. So kind of a big point week for ethics, because you've got the chapter, the Taylor article, homework on each, and then you also have your questions on your book club. So I'm sort of treating this, since I'm not there Monday, as if ethics was like online this week, right? So I want to make sure you guys have, a healthy amount of things to do throughout the week. I don't think it's a crazy amount, but I do think that you do need to pace yourself throughout the week. Okay, so now I just want to say a couple of words about Taylor. Taylor is going to contrast an anthropocentric view of ethics with a biocentric view of ethics, which he's going to endorse. And the idea here is between the chapter in the textbook and looking at the article, you should have a real good sense of what Taylor's brand of biocentrism looks like by the end of this. One of the things that's sort of interesting about what Taylor's approach is doing is he's trying to do more than just make an argument for, like, here's the principle of utilitarianism, or here is what our obligations are to animals because if we are virtue ethicists or something like that. He's trying to give a whole framework. And what I mean by that is he's saying, sort of, if we understand things from a biocentric point of view, that's going to change us in terms of the way we think, our attitudes, our belief systems, and it's going to result in us having a new way of thinking about our moral responsibilities. And so I wanted you guys to read that because it's sort of, I think, a kind of an interesting, so look at number 5 here. How does Taylor connect 3 components of ethics of respect for nature? A belief system, right? So that's about, what do I believe? A moral attitude, right? My feelings towards something, and the set of rules of duty and standards of character. So I just think it's sort of a neat approach because he's trying to lay out almost a full ethical system as applied to the living world and not just human beings. You'll notice that number 7 on this homework is, again, free money. It's just asking about making a connection to chemistry here. In what ways do you feel like the class so far, but especially chemistry, has helped you or not developed or change your an attitude of respect for nature? The thing that I want you to sort of pay attention with Taylor, and I think at this point you guys are getting a robust sense of ethics, is what Taylor's doing is he's taking a lot of the language that comes out of Kantianism in respect for persons, and then applying that in respect for nature. And so I want you to think of that analogy and how he's playing with that analogy and using some pretty some concepts that are normally reserved for rational agents and extending it to the whole natural world. And the hope is we'll talk about this a little bit when we get back in class on the 4th. So anyways, just a brief overview. I'm hoping that the 2 sets of questions, the quiz questions and these, are going to do a lot to help you actually feel like you understand the article well. So my hope is it is that you'll come into class on the 4th feeling like you have a good sense of what the thing is, so that what we won't need to do on the 4th is just do what we've sometimes have done so far in the semester, like walking through step by step what is the argument. Instead, it'd be kind of nice if what we can do is just get into a discussion, evaluation, what do you think, that kind of stuff. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you in person, and I will see you, of course, virtually on Monday, the 28th.